Welcome to Digital Talent Reimagined. My name is Marika Beckford and I'm from the Skills team right here at Microsoft. Now the UK is buzzing with digital talent and there are people from all walks of life, young and old, who have the skills, passion and ambition to make a huge difference across every organisation and every industry. But the truth is, with 82% of roles requiring digital skills and the estimated 3 million more skilled people required to work in technology careers in the next 5 years, there remains a gulf between the ambitious, talented people seeking career opportunities and employers seeking to hire into their organisation. The risk? Growing talent shortages, stifled innovation, and missed opportunity. The government's Levelling Up white paper makes it clear that the digital economy is a mine of untapped potential. And to fully harness this potential, we urgently need the skill sets and the people, and we need them everywhere, not just in London and the South East, but we need them from Devon to Dumfries. And this is the challenge we need the whole of the UK to tackle for us all to be successful. And there are tools to enable us to do this, because in 2022, your future employees are using a diverse set of methods to gain skills and confidence, with government-backed programmes widening opportunities and levelling the playing field. Now the business community has a chance to take steps to build a more diverse and, by extension, more innovative workforce. After all, talent is everywhere. It's the opportunity that needs unlocking.
Hello everyone, I'm Harry Morgan, also from the Skills team here at Microsoft. In this show, we're going to explore how organisations across the UK can truly think differently about how they attract and nurture talent, and in doing so, build a more diverse, innovative digital workforce. We will learn from hiring managers and senior leaders the steps they have taken to do just that, and explore what more can be done in this hybrid world of work.
But first, let's reimagine recruitment. It's a tough ask because too many of us were told that university was the only path to a good career. Graduates remain a valuable talent pool, but to build a diverse workforce with a breadth of experience and perspectives, employers must move beyond the traditional recruitment routes and transform the way they think about talent.
That's right, Marika, and with skill requirements constantly changing and the market experiencing skill shortages, hiring models must tap into non-traditional talent pools. We must consider which skills are essential and which can be learnt on the job. When it comes to finding top talent, there are three options, and they're commonly known as the buy, borrow, or build models. Many organisations tend to use a combination of these to find their employees. Let's take a quick look at how they work.
Do you buy, borrow, or build digital talent? When you buy talent, it's usually to plug an obvious and urgent skills gap in your company. You might do this as a short-term measure if you're in desperate need of certain skills. Maybe you're filling a hole while you work on your long-term upskilling plan. Borrowing talent can be a quick fix, but it often comes at an inflated cost. Using a contractor model can bring value when used for a specific need for a limited period. When you build your team's expertise, you create a sustainable approach to talent development and meet the needs of your organisation whilst arming your employees with the tools to grow their careers.
The building talent model is particularly important and necessary right now because the last couple of years have forced so many people to rethink their careers, and many of these people could have had a brilliant future in digital, but they don't even know it. The challenge is to get them to recognise that the opportunities are there for them. Earlier, Harry spoke with Chris Perkins, General Manager of the Enterprise Commercial team here at Microsoft UK, and here's what he had to say on the topic.
Hi Chris, thanks so much for joining us today.
Hi Harry, thank you for having me.
So why do you think it's so important today that we help organisations build talent in new ways, in innovative ways?
Organisations are transforming. They are digitally transforming, leveraging new technology to transform the delivery, whether that's public services or for a commercial organisation to deliver competitive advantage. But with that digital transformation also comes critical need to have the skills, and there is a gap there. Right now there are 900,000 tech jobs unfilled on LinkedIn, which just gives you the reality of the gap between supply and demand for digital skills.
I think there's an element in there as well around kind of building in diversity of thought, diversity of perspective, and probably diversity full stop that that organisations need to be innovative in this hybrid world of work.
That's right, because alongside this sort of business priorities, the taking advantage of what digital can bring, there's also in many of most, if not all organisations, an agenda around improving the diversity and inclusion of the organisation, and this is an opportunity to make that real by really opening the doors and thinking much more openly about where you access skills and talent.
I know you're really passionate about apprenticeships as well, so I'm just interested in kind of learning a bit more about kind of why is an apprenticeship such a great way to help close that talent gap.
Yeah, I think apprenticeships have a hugely important role to play in providing essential skills into the workforce. So it's a great way to actually give people an opportunity that might otherwise feel a little out of reach.
What do you get from that experience of connecting with apprentices? Is it fresh perspectives?
I think what's unique about the apprenticeship is this opportunity to have the sort of the learning and development activity happening in parallel with the job experience and actually working in the Microsoft organisation. And so what that leads to actually very often is our apprentices coming with a very inquiring mind, bringing real curiosity, this desire to apply the real-time learning and development and apply that to the job at hand. We continually want to improve, we want to innovate. Our organisation, we are an innovation company.
What is your message for leaders listening in about how they can hire, attract, nurture talent?
Look at the opportunities to open those channels up, to maybe remove some of the restrictions, expectations that we have in the way that we kind of source talent, and just be open-minded and really learn more about the sort of development programs that are out there in the market.
And I think the thing around kind of breaking down barriers, not just for organisations, but also for the individuals as well, to help them kind of believe that they can achieve those kinds of roles, I think is really important. We can always learn the technology skills, but we're looking for those individuals who are really passionate and motivated as well.
I feel over the last few years at Microsoft, we've developed this expectation of continuous learning. And so I think that's a message which is important for us to sort of extend to other organisations to really recognise that there's some, those core attributes. They're looking for the potential in people, but knowing that the more that you invest in continuous learning and giving people access to those resources and tools, that people generally take advantage of that and see the benefit of that to improve their opportunity to develop their careers.
So culture of learning is critical. So thank you so much, Chris, for your insights and your perspectives, and obviously for being a fantastic sponsor of digital skills here at Microsoft.
You're welcome. Thanks, Harry.
These insights may have got you wondering how you can really build talent. And there are two ways to do this. As Chris just explained, apprenticeships are a tried and trusted way of training and building up your workforce. And we've had a lot of success unearthing talent through digital skills bootcamps. These training programs are really helping to build a deep understanding of digital skills to support them in their careers. Now let's hear from Simon Lambert, Microsoft's Chief Learning Officer, and Ben Hansford, Chief Operating Officer at Firebrand, to find out how digital skills bootcamps can change the way you recruit and build talent.
We've had a huge amount of interest, certainly from our customers and our partners, in looking at boot camps as a potential source for talent.
Boot camps are a great program that kind of fit really nicely between paid for commercial training and longer apprenticeship programs or longer development programs. And they're aligned to in-demand skills and they're aligned to real jobs that are available now. So we're seeing fast training programs that include vendor qualifications, certifications, that are aligned to jobs. So we guarantee an interview for anyone that completes a 12-week boot camp.
I first came across the bootcamp through a search engine. I was looking for code challenges and things of that nature, and I came across the Firebrand bootcamp. I saw all of their programs, and the one that appealed to me the most was the Microsoft engineering one. The most interesting part of the course for me was being with fellow students and working towards something. I thought I knew about cloud computing, but while studying it, I realized that it was so vast, and it just excited me more.
There's two main ways to get involved. You can either kind of approach a training provider like ourselves or one of your other learning providers and commit to interviewing any graduates of the bootcamp programs. That's no cost to the employer. You can recruit from them, the government have funded the training, and it helps us obviously with the guaranteed interviews, and you get a pipeline of potential net new talent. The other way is to use them to upskill your existing workforce. So if you want to use one of these 12-week programs to upskill existing staff already on your payroll, then the government will contribute 70% of the cost, which is a fantastic contribution.
We're passionate about helping change people's lives, and so the boot camps is a great way for us to do that and support partners like Firebrand in doing so. Just hearing some of the stories from the people that have been on the boot camps has been incredibly inspiring.
Now, Marika, what struck me most in that film is the role that the skills boot camps are playing in levelling up the digital capabilities of entry-level employees, such as graduates. The Chartered Management Institute recently discovered that nearly 80% of employers believe graduates do not arrive fully work-ready, not least because the most in-demand skills are changing faster than many institutions can keep up with. Our recent white paper, Degree Plus Digital, explores this in further detail. Now, of course, a boot camp is just one of the many schemes out there. There are traineeships, apprenticeships, T-levels, short courses, and more that enable motivated people at any age or stage to build digital capabilities and, crucially, the confidence to perform in a digital role. Pillarina cashed in her chips as a croupier in a casino for a new career in technology. Let's see how a digital skills bootcamp became a stepping stone to the next stage in her career.
I've never been confident with myself. If I can do it, if I can overcome my fears and insecurities, then absolutely everybody can do it. When I first arrived in London from Estonia, I did not know a single person. There was quite a few weeks when I thought I have done a mistake. But then I just kind of got on with it. My daughter arrived a few years after I had started in casino and just turned my world upside down. I had to do things to suit her needs. When the pandemic hit, there was no customers, no work. It was time to make another change. I've always been fascinated by computers, but I always thought that I am definitely not clever enough to try to do anything in tech. It wasn't like I could go back to university. There was never enough time or enough money. When my work coach told me about these free boot camps, I kind of realized this is my chance. It was pretty exciting. QA bootcamp is 9 weeks long, full days, 8-hour days. I've been 20 years in hospitality business. I know nothing about office work. I've never used Excel in my life. So it kind of made me feel confident that once I do this bootcamp, I actually do know what I will be doing. When I got the job with QA, they told me that they had enrolled me in data apprenticeship as well. I just couldn't be happier. If I would carry on studying and get a degree out of it, that would be like more than dream come true. I do hope that I inspire my daughter. If she realizes that she makes a wrong choice in life, I would like her to think about me and realize like whatever she does, it's never too late to change her life.
It was amazing seeing Pillarina's story there, to hear her journey brought to life in her own words. So thank you, Pillarina. We really appreciated your time. Now, Harry spoke with her managers, Joanne and Andrew at QA, to find out why this wasn't just a winning formula for Pillarina, but a success for them as well.
I'm joined here today by Andy and Joanne from the team at QA. It's great to have you here today. Joanne, when you were recruiting for Pillarina, was there anything that really stood out about her?
She clearly had a growth mindset in terms of her own aspirations and dreams, but also for those of those around her as well.
We definitely saw that. We definitely saw kind of the warmth of Pillarina and her kind of learn-it-all attitude, which was really important.
Yeah, she's definitely got a love for learning, and she's definitely going to be a lifelong learner.
That's amazing. And Andy, perhaps, kind of why is lifelong learning so important for organisations today?
There's a chap called Alex Beard who wrote a book called Natural Born Learners, and one of the things he says, kind of right at the beginning of that book, is that learning is the soul of our species. And that's what really stands out in terms of Pillarina and the other members of the team. It's got to be someone that's deeply passionate about it. And I think that's what boot camps and apprenticeships add into the mix for an organisation, right? It's not just learning for the sake of learning. It's education with purpose to reach and realise the needs of the future.
I love that, education with purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's why we're here.
Joanne, boot camps, apprenticeships, traineeships, they're all creating social mobility. How do boot camps in particular, like the one that Pillarina went on, how do they facilitate social mobility?
So when we do the entry requirements, when we do the recruitment for these bootcamp learners, there's no obligation for that person to have completed any formal academic training. We take from all different backgrounds. In terms of the representation that we have currently, 25% of our recruits are female. It sounds disproportionately low, but actually it's high within the tech space.
The biggest one in terms of skills acquisition during their time on bootcamp happens in most cases before an individual starts work. So we get employers coming into our bootcamps running kind of events, assessment centres, panel sessions, interviews, and literally getting a sense of what talent is available in their community, with the view that they'll then go and start work as soon as they graduate from the bootcamp. They're getting more than they paid for, right? In terms of they're offsetting their traditional recruitment costs with entrance into boot camps, and they're securing talent that is passionate about the industry, that's shown a dedication and commitment to learn more, and will hit the ground running in terms of the duties and responsibilities that they need to do.
Thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Harry. Now it's time for our panel discussion on solving today's talent challenges. Let's begin with some quick introductions.
Hi Marika, I'm Simon Lambert. I'm the Chief Learning Officer here at Microsoft UK.
Hi Marika, I'm Julie Graham. I'm the CEO of Employment Services for Ingeus UK.
And hello, I'm Fran or Franika. I'm a director in our people consulting business at KPMG.
Julie, can you explain how you've changed your recruitment processes to attract a more diverse and inclusive selection of applicants?
For us, it's really important that recruitment is accessible, it's inclusive to everyone. So we do things like we're a disability confident employer, so we advertise to make sure our jobs are accessible to all. We allow people to apply in a range of different formats. We also make sure that people understand that we will make workplace adjustments for them and that we have flexible working conditions.
Fran, I want to move over to you around what are you hearing from organisations? What are they doing differently, and what are the workforce needs that you're hearing?
So it's definitely about diversifying the different sources into your organisation. So practically, what do I mean? Well, gone are the days when you can think of kind of the workforce supply as the traditional routes that you would always use, going to some recruitment campuses and attracting from the best universities. Actually, it's about thinking about what's the work that needs to be done, and therefore what's the best kind of match of skills or supply to do that. It might mean thinking about apprentices and early entry schemes, which traditionally technology firms have been kind of slower off the mark to get into that. So I think building the muscle around leadership, that every time you're thinking about investing in machine learning, like AI, or automating a process or building a new capability, you always need to be thinking about, well, who are the people in the workforce, where are they, and how are we going to get them as a conversation.
Now, today's theme is about reimagining digital talent. Simon, what does that look like to you?
Well, at Microsoft, I think we're incredibly committed to providing opportunity for people to be able to gain the digital skills they need for the sustainable jobs of the future. And our focus on lifelong learning is really about trying to help that individual at whatever point they're at in their own learning, whether that be a student coming out of education, whether that be a parent looking to reskill, or even somebody that just wants to go after that big job that they really wanted. I think from an employer perspective, obviously, the idea of being able to drive skills and talent has to be a core component of the workplace experience that employers are bringing to bear today to ensure people can continue their learning journey and build the talent for the future. And I think what's really important for us is to think about not just the educational background, but the attitude and aptitude of people who are coming to look at this industry as part of an opportunity, to make sure that we're really expanding our thinking on not just looking at their traditional educational routes, but really challenging ourselves to look at a much wider and more diverse talent pool.
Thank you, Simon. And Julie, I'd just love to come to you from Simon's perspective and just talk about what Ingeus are specialising in creating those opportunities that break down barriers to social mobility. Now, that's something many of us want to achieve in theory, but how do we do that in practice?
Well, one of the biggest barriers to social mobility is lack of education and skills to advance in the workforce. So what we do is we provide a lot of education, skills and training for people to not just go into employment, then to progress through employment. So some of the examples of the things that we do, we have sector-based work academies, so giving people an opportunity to have some pre-employment training in a sector, go in and do some work placements, and then they would get a guaranteed interview at the end. So that's an opportunity for them to try out and go into different sectors they might not have thought of before. We also encourage boot camps. So for example, in the West Midlands at the moment, we've got quite a number of job seekers who are participating in a boot camp for data analysts and digital marketing roles. So they're going through that, and at the end of the 12 weeks of the online course, they'll all have a guaranteed job interview, and they're quite sought after skills, obviously. And I guess what we do too is we help our job seekers to overcome social barriers to employment. So for example, we combat digital poverty by supporting our job seekers to be able to access broadband, but also we provide IT equipment, we pay for their travel to work until they get that first paycheck. We support them, with accommodation, and any of those social issues that might stop them from being able to fully participate in employment.
And you mentioned boot camps there. That's something I'm quite familiar with, and I think about the journey that I've had coming into the tech space, into a space that I didn't think I would ever end up being in. When you look at my CV, customer service, retail, freelancing, big long gaps of unemployment, back and forth to the job centre, boot camps, all sorts of things that are just a little bit random, a little bit odd, no linear trajectory in my CV at all. When I think about my journey here into tech, it's because somebody said to me, yeah, I'm going to take a chance on you. Not necessarily in those words, but definitely looking at my CV, and it's usually someone who's an ally and usually someone who's just willing to take a chance. And it's because of those moments, because someone spotted potential, that I've been able to make a step forward. How do we get organisations to do better at that? Frenica, I'm going to come to you with that question. How do we get them to look at spotting potential on doors that sometimes look shut?
Gosh, so much there to cover. I think your point around your CV seeming random is actually going to be very much the norm going forward. I think we all need to let go of the idea of holding out for the perfect candidate who's come through that linear route and has the kind of check boxes of a good solid education, formal qualifications, the right kind of job work experience, because I think those days are gone. Top down, I think we all as leaders need to take accountability for saying, I'm not going to hold out for the CV that I used to think was perfect. I don't think it's even take a chance. I think it's open my mind to understanding that the skills that I need, the aptitude, the attitude exists in lots of different forms.
How do we get better at making people with lived experience feel like they belong in these spaces?
It's the pace of change that I think we just have to be able to adopt to, because I think I read somewhere that the average life expectancy of a skill is now 5 years. And if you think about the pace of change of technology, it means that we have to continually think about what we're doing to provide the right environment for people to be able to learn and grow. So I'd say, first of all, start to look at your own people. Is there an opportunity to upskill or to reskill people within the organisation, people that have already made the commitment to be part of the culture that you've established in the organisation? I think the second component is to really challenge ourselves on where we go look for talent. You know, the idea of, you know, following through an educational route, as Fran was saying, is still relevant. It still has its place, but I also think it's an and, because we now need to think about, okay, how do we get different talent into the organisation through programs like apprenticeships or through programs like digital boot camps, both of which can be really effective ways of finding and nurturing new talent.
Look at the person, look at their potential, don't look at their CV and think that's what defines them, because so many people just don't have the same opportunity to, you know, get to through education, but they've got lots to bring to a workplace.
I'm picking up here that there needs to be a sense of building culture in the workplace, building on that, the people who are already existing, those leaders that are already there, that are there to enable and be allies and make change. People like you and I, Veronica, who are, you know, in a space that we can use our lived experience to be that opening door to welcome others in.
That's amazing. I mean, as you said, if people will, you know, just change the script, look at people in a different way, give them opportunities, look what you can do with your opportunities.
And we run a program called It's Her Future, IT's Her Future, which is kind of going into schools and trying to build awareness of technology roles and skills for females, because as we know, it's historically been an area that women haven't gone into. And I think a lot of what you said starts with kind of that visibility, building knowledge and building that from an early age so that you can kind of spark some of those fires, but also show people that it's very achievable, it's very doable, and here I am as a woman that has done it.
Absolutely, Fran, and I think it's the rippling effect for me, because I know that the steps that I'm making right now, I'm still learning, I'm still a sponge, but I know that it will have that rippling effect to my nieces, my nephews. The story changes for them too when my story changes.
And I think the really interesting and important piece for the business decision leaders, the business leaders, is really about every company. Every company is now having to be a tech company. So the idea of having the need just to have tech skills in tech companies is changing, because everyone's been on this massively fast digital transformation. Everyone is now having to think differently about how they engage to be competitive, to be innovative. So we absolutely have to do what you were talking about, Marika, otherwise we're just going to be stuck with a very limited pool of tech talent. And it all comes down to the partners that we all work with to deliver those. So, you know, we've got a very rich pool in Microsoft of learning partners and providers that we work incredibly close with to deliver those moments and those experiences for people to go through.
And lastly, can I ask you all in turn, why now? Why is now the time to explore these new work avenues and encourage candidates to explore them too?
Well, I guess month on month we're seeing record vacancies. The last quarter of last year we actually saw that there was a record low of 1.1 unemployed people per vacancy, which is just unheard of. So we really need to change the ways we find our talent, or we just won't be able to fill our vacancies. But I also think we have a social responsibility. One, to address chronic youth unemployment. We also have a social responsibility to address underemployment of minority groups, but also the lack of participation of over 50s these days. Bringing them back in, utilising their skills, their transferable skills. I think that that's our social responsibility. That's why now.
And I would say that, I think Simon alluded to it, that we are all trying to do new things as businesses. There is no such thing as the kind of the tech business and the others anymore. As that kind of blurs, we're all going to have to think much more creatively about how digital skills become kind of core to everything that we do. And I think now more than ever, we can kind of take our learnings from the pandemic, take our ways of adapting and doing things differently, and try to keep some of that mindset as we kind of face into these new digital tech talent challenges.
Thank you. Simon, how about you? Why now?
Well, 69% of the business leaders that we interviewed said that they face a digital skills gap in their organisation. And so for organisations to remain competitive and to continue to innovate at the speed of change that we're seeing, you know, we need to be able to find the skills and talent to be able to capture that opportunity. And I think talent is diverse and you can find it in the most unexpected places. I think our opportunity is to find ways to connect that talent with that opportunity.
Well, thank you so much. Not only is this an important topic, but it's a very fascinating one, and I really appreciate your time today.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think what we've discovered today is that to solve the digital talent equation, we must rethink our recruitment paths, tackle the stereotypes and explore ways to build digital talent. And if you're interested in learning more about creative approaches to filling the digital skills gap, then please download our Solving the Talent Equation ebook. And thank you for joining.